We are here in the University of Z.K. Matthews, Govan Mbeki, O.R. Tambo, Nelson Mandela, Seretse Khama, Kenneth Kaunda, Julius Nyerere, Robert Mugabe, Robert Sobukwe, Krisani, and many others. It is not a mistake that we chose this university. This university has got a long history of liberation in Southern Africa and the African continent. Many ideas which liberated many countries in our continent were generated here in this university. All of you who are attending school here, you are a chosen generation because you are following in the footsteps of the giants. And that's why we wanted to breathe the same air that was breathed by Robert Mugabe and Robert Sobukwe and Krisani. Maybe when we live here, we'll stop being cowards because we were at the same space where Krisani spent some of his time. Comrades, we are here because many young people, despite the fact that leaders and giants have gone through this university, many young people are still without education. Many young people, especially in the rural areas, can't even dream of coming to Forte. They will not even dream of going to any other university, despite the fact that we were promised that there will be free education at tertiary institutions. There is no free education at Fort Hare. There is no free education at any university. There is ample free education, almost free education, not free education at all. Comrades, we are here because this is where the battles are fought to decolonize education in Africa. And decolonization of education does not mean that we must be taught in Xhosa. You can't be taught in Xhosa and be taught wrong things. Decolonized education does not mean being taught in mother tongue. It means that we ought to liberate the syllabus, the content must liberate the mind of African children. The education system, every time it gives you examples, it gives you examples of whiteness and project whiteness as excellence. And all of you, when you graduate, you want to be like white people. That is the type of education we are fighting. We don't want education that gives examples of whiteness as a center of excellence. When we say we decolonize, we mean that Africans should learn about their own experiences and learn how they are going to defeat and better those experiences. Because if decolonization, Vuyani, means that we must be taught in Xhosa, then Bible is written in Xhosa as well, yet projects Christianity as white. We are not accommodated there. That's why even Jesus Christ is projected as white, even in a Xhosa written Bible. It's not a language that matters. It is the content. And therefore we ought to get the content right. The youth of 1976, when they fought against Africans, it was not because they didn't want to go to school. They knew that the colonizer wanted to make them in his own image. Colonialism, chairperson, in simple terms, is when the colonizer makes you in his or her image. What is the image of our colonizer in South Africa? Is to bleach ourselves and want to look white. What is the image of colonialism in South Africa? Is to straighten our hair and want to look white. What is colonialism in South Africa? Is to want to speak English better than the English themselves, because you think English is better than Xhosa itself. Why? The colonizer has made you in their image. You must walk like them. You must speak like them. You must write like them. You must dress like them. And anything else that doesn't show the image of a colonizer, it's a taboo. What is a taboo here in Alice? When we slaughter and perform rituals for our ancestors, we are ashamed because it's not the image of a colonizer. We have never seen a white man slaughtering and performing rituals. Therefore, it is wrong. Why? You are made in the image of the colonizer. And therefore, in everything else you do, you want to be like your colonizer. So when we say we are decolonizing education, we ultimately want to decolonize society so that we embrace ourselves. And listen to me, I never said a person who bleached herself or himself is not an African. If you want to do it, do it. As long as it comes from inside, it's what you like. But don't do it because you want to look like your mother's boss. You must do it because for some reason you feel fulfilled. As long as it comes from inside you. You want to look like Helen Zille. She's not one of the best people you want to look like. Comrades, June 16 happened not because of the ANC. June 16 happened because of Steve Biko. Those children were following the ideas of black consciousness. Those children, they wanted to liberate the mind. Tsietsi Mashinini was mentored by Abraham Tiro. Abraham Tiro, who was expelled from University of Teflop for speaking and standing for black people inspired by black consciousness. So the struggle of 1976 was not just a struggle against Afrikaans. It was a black consciousness struggle. It was a struggle to liberate the mind. Because they knew that if we allow the continuation of oppressing the mind of black people, we will never realize our total freedom. Deputy President ANC denounced 1976. They must not claim now. They denounced it the same way they denounced Feast Must Fall. They only came later to support Feast Must Fall, the same way they came later to support the 1976 student uprising. Therefore, they must never claim the struggle of 1976 against your favorite current president who is our people. It was a struggle to instill in our people. Here in the university, what is black consciousness is self-love. That if you love yourself, you will not embrace the language of others for you to be relevant. So the youth were ahead of their time. The youth led the struggle for the total liberation of our people. Despite the fact that the 1976 youth was called names, they never retreated. They fought an armed regime with well-trained soldiers. They fought it with stones. They knew that the stones will not defeat the killing machine. But one thing they knew was that they will never kill all of us. It doesn't matter They can continue to shoot. We will never defeat them with our stones, but we will defeat them with our strength. We'll defeat them with our numbers. We'll defeat them with a conscious society. We'll defeat them with a liberated mind that says enough is enough.